Well, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me and about my story, but first I wanted to explain to you that the pioneers that crossed the plains, they came because they were willing to sacrifice everything for their testimonies, even their lives. But most of them didn't have to do that. For many of them, it was a great and exciting adventure. Some of the pioneers that came from where I came from in England had never even slept under the stars before coming and crossing the plains. And the trek was difficult, and they sacrificed much. But though it was difficult, most didn't have to give their lives during that time. But between the Exodus of Nauvoo in 1847 and the time of the Martin and Willie Handcart companies, there had been many companies of pioneers crossing, and it's those Martin and Willie companies that we're going to learn about when we go on trek. The company that I was in was the Martin Company. Now, we'll be walking on that sacred ground that was made sacred by their suffering and their sacrifice in the high desert, the high plains of Wyoming. Well, my name, as this brother introduced, is Sarah Wilkinson. Sarah Hughes Wilkinson. I hail from Manchester, England. My husband Charles and I encountered Franklin Richards, a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in England, and we listened to the gospel and were baptized. He had a blacksmith shop there, but within a year of being baptized, we left everything to gather with the saints in Zion. We boarded the Emerald Isle steamship to come across the sea, and we got to New York. When we arrived in New York, we didn't have the money to continue our journey, so we had to work to gather the money to transport Charles and myself and our 3 children by rail to Iowa City. Well, when we finally made it to Iowa City, we didn't have a penny to find lodging. So we looked and looked until we found an abandoned rail car to make shelter in. Well, we made shelter in that rail car, and I'm sorry to say that during the night, our dear little Mary passed on. At that time, we had to dig a shallow grave for our Mary and leave her behind. And as we made preparations to continue on our way, not a few days later, our Sarah Jane, 7 years old, also passed away. Our 2 girls were buried there in Iowa City, but we couldn't wait. We were late. We had to catch the Martin Company, which had already departed. We had a wagon at that time, loaned to us by Franklin Richards. He agreed that if we would take his books with us to Zion, then we could use his wagon. Well, not a few miles out of Iowa City, after leaving our babies behind, my heart was broken, and also our wagon was broken. The wagon capsized. We had to make repairs in haste so we could catch the company. We did so, and our journey wasn't without trials. As we traveled on our way,